Hi. So we are Verdethos, meaning green ethos. For us, we work with the sustainability of stakeholders across complex global supply chains. So what we do realize is that sustainability is a word that means something different to everybody. It means something very different to our farmers than it does to the people who are running plantations in Indonesia, than it does to somebody who's in the C-suite of Procter & Gamble, et cetera. That people get the name wrong all the time. We kind of figure it's like Chipotle. Like if people are misspelling it and having to read it over and over again, they'll like recognize a brand easier. So hopefully that rings true. But yes. So we are a platform for complex global supply chain management. And what we're doing is we are ultimately looking to bridge all of the data between departments. Right now, the industry is extremely siloed and decentralized, even inside the largest of businesses. So we're combining data from the operations teams, trading, procurement, and sustainability all on one platform, and making it so that people can manage their supply chains in real time from end to end. We're also externally linking data between the participants. So if I am an integrated processor, for instance, our first customer is in the palm oil industry. They're the refinery, and they also own some mills, but a lot of their mills are also third parties. And I'm selling to, let's say, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Nestle, et cetera. We're also connecting our systems to the distribution channel so that they have full visibility as to where they were supplied from, so to the farm and plantation. Where this is very important, there are increasing regulations. One was passed by the European Union in May of this past year, basically stating that there are 9 raw materials that have to be fully traceable to the farm or plantation of origin, and that there has to be satellite monitoring of the land stating that it's deforestation-free from 2020 on in order for there to be goods shipped into the EU for processing. These include things, and even if you look around the room, it includes things like rubber, paper, soy, palm oil, coffee, cocoa, so a lot of things that are used in everyday life. And so this is now, it's turned basically our platform as a, hey, that's nice to have. We are looking to provide very sufficient cost savings for these organizations. But now it's been coined a need to have product in supply chain management. So we're very excited about that. So diving into the demo, what we have here basically is the information by shipment. And we're providing the satellite monitoring embedded into the system so that if I'm the sustainability manager and I'm trying to match the supply that I have from 500 mills and thousands of refineries with somebody who's going to be shipping to the EU, for instance, I have an understanding of whether or not what I shipped is deforestation-free. So if what we have here is, it's basically the tracking by BL number, so the bill of lading. It's the documentation that goes along with every order when it exchanges hands. We have the map data. We also have the satellite monitoring piece. So you can actually drill down pretty far down onto the land itself and see if there's any deforestation nearby or has been. The test data that we have in the system here is from 2015 to 2019. With the regulation, the data that we have in the system is every piece of land every 2 weeks, and it's being monitored. And so with that, these organizations are using, and actually that's a nice one, there's not any deforested land there. So here I'm gonna back up a little bit. But so you can see the deforestation growing over time. The red markings are flaggings for that. What the system is looking for is if there's any change in tree cover, it's flagging. And then there's also, if there's any burn zones, so if there's evidence that things have been burnt in the area, it flags it for a land change. We have AI and machine learning modules basically running, basically taking the maps and comparing every 2 weeks that information and flagging for these sustainability teams to go and do further due diligence. So what that means is they're not necessarily saying that that is truly deforested land, but it's giving them a trigger to go in and investigate what had happened. We also have marked on here these required areas such as peatlands and the forest legal statuses. The peatlands are in teal, and what that basically is saying, if in these areas that are rainforest adjacent, if you disrupt peatland and get rid of the vegetation over peat, it basically sends a bunch of greenhouse gases into the environment. So they're also looking to monitor for disruption of that. So this basically had turned these companies, again, from a, hey, it'd be really nice to update our supply chains and save about 17% on our administrative costs. So basically administrative costs right now account for about 24% of supply chain revenues currently, and we're looking to cut those more than in half. It turned that into a need to have a product with the deforestation monitoring pieces. And then what ultimately happens is we take all of these data points and then export them into the documentation required for shipping. And so it's basically doing a lot of work behind the scenes to pull from a lot of spreadsheets and databases to generate the statements required for the shipping pieces with the deforestation elements. So it'll list everything out that's required by the regulation. Now, our main competitor has been spreadsheets. So when we go in and talk to companies, so this all seems really like happy la-la, like this isn't a big deal, right? Because we're so used to our software that we're using on the consumer side being extremely user-friendly. It makes it, the businesses that we're operating, or the software that we're using to operate our businesses in everyday life, pretty easy. But in these big companies, that's not the case. So when we went and talked to the chief sustainability officer of the last large company, they said they had been operating their sustainability programs on 42 different spreadsheets. The operations team had over 60, and they're sitting there with a lot of data points where there is confusion over what is the true data versus what were things that were changed over time and those sorts of things. So as a third-party provider, we're also helping with the auditing and reporting function. And something very, very simple that a lot of us, I come from a finance background, it's pretty typical to have a change history so you know who did what. But we've added that in too. So if there's a change to any data points, we're seeing that. So we're Verdethos. We go live in 2 weeks with our first client. They make up about 10% of the palm oil market. They sell to very large consumer packaged good companies, and we are very excited about that. In the community here in Minnesota, we've been very grateful to the ecosystem overall, and we've had a lot of help with introductions and things like that here. And so we always are looking to give back as we start hiring and things of that nature. Definitely come find us. We're very excited to tap into our own local community here. Thank you.